so we can fill for 30 seconds anyway, because we're a bit early.
Early, which is unlike us to be early to anything really, but we have managed it today.
So what we're doing?
Are we juggling and entertaining today, or at least for the next 30 seconds?
30 seconds. 3:59 UK time.
What we probably have had is a really good scheduling system to get us here just in time.
If only we knew of one.
I know. Almost segueing into an actual topic there, wasn't it? We tried.
Maximising what?
Efficiency, it might be.
In?
I've no idea. I didn't read the title of this thing.
Material management. I think
thank you. Okay.
And as you're presenting it, I hope you did read the title.
I've had to work hard today. Do you not realise this? This is the look of a hard-working person.
Done something, I would imagine.
I've had to do something, yes. It's only a little health warning for you, really, but it's we don't actually have a factory. I'd forgotten what it was like running a factory.
So you've been doing that, have you?
I've been my own little virtual factory.
Get out of there as quick as you can.
It's like the olden days, you know, when you've got machines in every corner and you're trying to walk around and see what they're doing and where they're at. Well,
find everything, answering paper queries. Boss, where's this? Boss, where's that? It's right next to me.
Walking around with your clipboard and waiting for 7 people to stop you on the way. Hang on, let me write that down. Let me take that job bag back with me. It was just like that today, except all from the seat. But I had to prep some nice things so that we could see some things working.
So what's the problem we're solving today then?
Well, it's probably a problem that affects everybody, I would say. Certainly larger factories where you need to work out where to put stuff, basic terms, and you kind of need a little bit of help sometimes to locate work in progress maybe, or to bring your paper out of your paper warehouse to your presses just in time. So that it's not sitting around clogging up the place and minders can find what they're looking for.
Rather than ringing you at 8 o'clock at night to try and find it, yeah?
After ringing you sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning saying, did you see that pallet?
Yep, it's right next to the press where I left it at 6 when I left.
So shall we try and bring this to life in my virtualized factory?
Let's go for it.
Let me share the screen out and then we can see that happening. Let's ignore the fact that my factory is all red.
Jobs are late.
Yeah, everything's late. Let's pretend that it's a wonderful factory and everything is nice and on time. And the reason I'm starting here is we're not really looking at PrintFlow or PrintFlow as a scheduling tool today and what it does, but we're beginning here because it is the driver behind what we're looking at. So each of these little blocks of time, and I've highlighted a particular job in yellow for us, is representing a task that we have to do and the time it's going to happen at. And PrintFlow, we've done other sessions on PrintFlow and we can do many more. PrintFlow is a tool that is optimizing, making the factory, in theory, as efficient as it can be. But in order for this task here, let's say to happen on time, or this one here, it's got to have all those elements to it. So it's got to have materials in place, ready to start running. And that's the bit we're going to look at today.
Cool.
Good introduction so far.
Well, I think it's amazing.
That's one of the clearest we've started on. So I'm basically following a job through the factory, and I'm going to look at a different screen. And so this screen is a screen for a warehouse person who might be sitting there. And before you say it, it is really hard to run a factory without actually having a factory with lots of people doing jobs for you all day long.
All your jobs are late. I wasn't going to mention it, but all your jobs are late.
It's worth mentioning it. Everything is late. I will just quickly scroll down to the bottom of my little list of movements and say some things are not late. And we'll come back to this one in a little bit. But basically, my system is telling me, as a warehouse person, somebody who might move pallets around the place or move reels of paper around the place, what should I do? Where should I move stuff? And
so they'd be using this not on a laptop in the office or anything.
Yeah. This would be on a tablet mounted in a cab on a forklift, or might be just probably on a tablet if you're just walking around the place with a pallet truck.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's where you are that's what you're seeing on this. And this little piece here that says automation, this is because the system has told the operator to do something. It's not a manual request, it's a system generated one, in this case come from PrintFlow.
Okay.
So you're going to ask me something?
Well, I was going to say, so that is looking at the PrintFlow schedule and then going, we need to get, for this task, we need to get this material or group of materials to the machine for that particular time.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you set in your little parameters here as well. So you'll set in, well, I want it to arrive 3 hours before printing, or 6 hours before stitching, or 20 minutes after, before binding. So it depends how big your factory is and what you want to do. That's what this stuff kind of does.
Okay.
So as a driver who's driving around and doing things, I need to go in here and choose this item. So to say that this is going to be something I'm going to do rather than for everybody else. So this is like a pool list of things for people. And I'm just saying I'm going to take it. And what you'll see on the left-hand side is this now pops into a little thing saying my requests. So it's now on my personal list. And it's vanished off this little pool of things up here for everybody.
So no other operator is going to pick that pallet up or that job up to do next, yeah?
No other operator should be picking that up at all.
Okay.
So if we're down here on this piece, we can see this item comes in here. Now you're going to notice a couple of things here that it's going to be difficult. First is you're going to be scanning this. You're not going to be clicking on things. You're physically scanning items.
So you're zapping it with a gun, or you're using the camera on whatever device you've got, as normal warehouse movements would go in a lot of places. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So you're not. So I'm cheating a little tiny bit because I'm going to search for my item, but I wouldn't normally do that. I would normally be looking at something that's in my paper stores. I would be scanning that barcode number there.
With a label on it.
With a label on the side.
Stuck on it.
Yeah. And I would move or use it for the movement request. And then I would simply scan the location of the place I've got to drop it in. So luckily for me, I happen to know this location is 234. And it has now moved this quantity. So I've still got some more to deliver, but it's now showing me that I've delivered the 60,000 that I need to do.
So practically you go pick up pallet, scan the pallet label, drive forklift round building up to the press or whatever it is, park it at the press, and then scan the location on the press, and then it moves it to that location. And then you go and repeat it, yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And maybe you've been called away, you're doing something else, you can take it off your list and put it back on the pool list. So you see it's off my list and the pool list is now back up to the 50.
My shift's finished, I'm going home.
Yeah, end of my shift, that's it. I know
I'm out the door.
I've got 10 more to move, but yeah, we'll have to wait on that. Okay. So what you're kind of seeing here, and if I just put a little filter on this as well, let's imagine that I am just going to be looking at something from the paper stores. So it's only going to show me items now that I'm moving from paper stores to a press. So I don't have the 55, the whole factory. I've just got 18 requests.
So if you're moving reels around in a web printing company or something like that, then that would be based on I've got a clamp truck in front of me and therefore I can only move reels around. Yeah.
So they've all got their locations and the places that they generally work within and what they're able, the type of material they're able to move as well.
Nice.
So it's designed, you and I have both spent a little bit of time in factories. It's designed so that every operator has got no excuse not to do it.
And more importantly, you know where that 8-page section is that they printed 2 days ago, because that sometimes gets forgotten about and reprinted in an emergency to get it to the binder. Not that I've ever been in a factory that's ever done that.
No.
And we find it 2 weeks later when we've already printed it.
No, and you've never lost a cover that you've got bookings for that have been printed and laminated, but you can't find it. And
Anywhere in the factory.
Miraculously, when the guillotine blade gets changed, somebody manages to find these covers.
Yes, because they were put around there.
Yeah, it's a slightly different place. So, as you've already pointed out, my factory is generally running nice and late. So I've got loads of things that I haven't actually picked up. But the important stuff to note is that this number up here, this number 55. So that's the request that we have got. And I said I'd come on to almost time that perfectly to come on to what do you do on if the list is looking a bit more normal and you've got more things on time. So if you notice down here, just this very bottom task, this is a section for a job. So the job number is 9140. It's got this 32-page section, and it's made a pallet output of 12,000 items is sitting on that pallet. It shows you the time that it was output, and it's giving me 30 minutes basically to come from the press to go and pick it up and take it to my next place. And it tells me, take it from my stacker on my KBA press and put it in my whip pro factory zone. So it depends what you have as your factory. You set these things up as you want them to be. Basic premise is that your presses don't have a limitless capacity sitting at the delivery. And so you will need to move stuff from there, even if you don't need it at the finishing equipment just yet. You can also use it if you're going out into the world and you're sending things to outworkers. You can pick it up and put it into a bay for dispatch to an outworker.
Nice.
So yeah, quite handy stuff with that there as well.
I guess the advantage really then is a lot of factories sort of do this sort of thing twice a day. That whoever comes in at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is first, make sure all the day's production reels are set up for the day production, and then they try and get the night shift production in the right place. But you're only really doing it twice a day with a lot of management, whereas this is more ergonomic and just happens all the time as the schedule moves.
Yeah, it's definitely happening as the schedule is moving on. So it's definitely designed to be as close to real time for operators as you can get to it. It's logging it down in the minutes and the seconds to stuff. So if we're watching down the bottom of this little queue, and I'm just going to make another little palette for something somewhere, we should see fairly instantly it brings that up into the system.
So you're using our auto count system to make pallets every 10,000 sheets or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, in this, I mean, we can use a variety of systems. In this case, I actually used a manual system, but yes, I could be using auto count as well. So I've got a different job number here, actually. This is why it's been really hard today, having to work on so many different job numbers at the same time. But this one has basically said at this time, 11 minutes past 4, at the out stage of my folder, I've created something. It's got one pallet with 5,600 items on it. You've got 30 minutes to take it over to the staging zone for the binder.
So we're assuming in here that pallet's all dry, good to go, stacked up. Thank you very much. Created one pallet off it, and then you're going to go and take that at an appropriate point to either a staging location or direct to the binder if it's going on the binder in an hour's time or whatever.
Yeah.
So you've got much less chance of losing your pallets at the start of a 10.
Yeah.
And getting the stuff there, which probably is an unknown cost to a lot of businesses, I think, where they start making ready the stitch line or the binder or whatever it would be and go, oh, where's section 8? Let's go and run around and try and find section 8 for 25 minutes before we actually start making ready.
And if you look at this one, this is like press finished work as well. You know that you've got 2 pallets and each one has got a unique barcode on it as well. So, that barcode label is going to be printed out automatically by the machine that somebody just sticks on the side of the pallet as it's moving around the place.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't need to be looking at that in any kind of more complicated way, as a user, you're just scanning barcodes that sit on the side of pallets.
Nice. So go on and show me some more complicated stuff.
So some more complicated stuff. So let's go back over here and let's look at what kind of information it's bringing out for us. So first of all, this is our job that's running through. Let me save that.
Yeah, see, that always happens. Left yourself logged in too long, haven't you?
Thinking happy thoughts. So here's our job. If we just refresh the job, so we can see this is what's currently being produced. We can see various different stages: cutting, printing, folding. We can see what is going on the job, so we can see tasks that are finished, so 100% done on that. And so printing a cover, cutting the cover is done. Folding is currently working. Printing is currently working. We're not yet at stitching time.
And you've also got quantity required and quantity actual on there, so you make sure they run each section with the appropriate overs and all that jazz to make sure that it doesn't get all the way to the binder, and then you realise you're short on section 6 or whatever it is. And it's never happened to me before. As
we're looking up stuff like quantity, if you overproduce, if you can just make out these numbers are very small. I've basically I've produced about 700 extras, so that's traceable, that's trackable as well. So I've got that visual of what's going on in it there, as well as my visual of the diagram sitting here, and all of this relates back to PrintFlow. So we started looking at PrintFlow. PrintFlow is obviously key to this all working, but PrintFlow is constantly talking to our database, and whenever something is changing, we're getting an update to say this task has changed, has moved, something's happened to it, and PrintFlow will move everything around and will update them based on what's going on with it.
So, stupid question. If I take a job that's on this afternoon as an example and throw it back 2 weeks, everything disappears off the material list for the machine operator, the truck drivers, so that they don't see it in the future on their list.
Yes, this is about how you set it up. If I would say if you were going to run it in the next hour, it's probably too late because you probably would have moved it already. Yeah. But if you're moving something, if you set your thing up properly so that you're bringing stuff just in time, then yeah, that's fine. I've spotted in the chat a question about RFID tags. So yes, it will cope with that as well. Those are tags that come in directly from the paper suppliers. So if you're using tags that come in from paper suppliers, then you can actually preload them in your system and just use those. You don't need to make your own tags for raw material stuff. But the work in progress, you will be using the system to make its own tags of things.
Yeah, because it does that, doesn't it?
Yeah. And actually a little bit kind of sad and geeky moment internally in the system, but it's quite
unlike you.
It's not my style, is it? But no. But the system is generating and keeping a track of stuff. So if I just refresh what it's doing, so as it's processing everything, each of those pallets that were for the cover, it's showing the location that they're in. Those pallets that we've got for our text section, the 32-page, that's all coming through there as well.
So if you're sat in the office, you can sort of like, rather than getting off your bottom and running around the factory for an hour, you can have a look where each of the locations are when somebody rings you from the factory to ask you where that pallet is.
Yeah, and if you make a new pallet, something actually happens, and we look at it again, the folder is also making a pallet. So it's made a pallet, it's stuck it in the folding out location. And that should also appear just down here pretty instantly. It's come from the folding out, it's going to my WIP factory zone. So it's going to the same place as our text section, take all of them over there, and then the binder can start running it.
That would work. I mean, imagine if you have more than one unit as well, or you have printing in one factory unit and binding in another unit or finishing in another unit. All those locations could be factory 1, press 1, factory 2, binder 1, or whatever it is, and then you could just move it in between the two, and you'd set up a bigger lag to get the stuff across the factory earlier in PrintFlow, so that they could go across the yard or whatever needs to happen.
Yeah, so I mean, it's why I started this in PrintFlow, but this is just a tool. I think you've kind of said it somewhere. This is the unseen money saving tool. Like there's unseen money that businesses are spending when people are looking for stuff, and if you can direct them to the place and help them to find it, I mean, PrintFlow is really the thing that's driving it. It's the schedule that is driving when things need to be ready in a place. This is just a means to help somebody get there. And designed to be really simple for operators to just use and scan.
So, okay, so that covers off getting inventory that's been delivered in via RFID tag. Bump, get that to the press. Go printy, foldy, stitchy, all the way through the factory to delivery stage. But what happens if I've got half a reel left on the press, or I want something else to happen?
Ah, yes, good point. I completely forgot about that.
That's why I'm here. I do have a reason for existing.
That's why you're here, to remind me about stuff. So, whoever you might be, whether you're a press operator or just a warehouse hand who's moving things around the factory, you can hit this little button and request a movement. So again, you'd be scanning a barcode location for the place that you're in. And we are going to cheat, and we're going to use a location that we know, and we're going to say, what do I want? So maybe I'm a press minder and I'm really struggling on the job and I need some more material, and it's never going to come through automatically because I'm overusing. So it's more than the system thinks I'm going to want. So please deliver me something. I can scan the material code that I want, and it will come and ask the stores to come and find me some more. Or I could say, come and collect something that's over here. So here are all the items that are sitting in this reel stand, and maybe they've been finished. They're not in use in a current job. So please go and take one away. So if I just pick one of those items and hit the little taxi button on it, then what we'll see it do is magically it's giving it to me. It automatically knows where its return location should be. So you set those kind of things up as well. So in your warehouse, where should I be returning things to? And collect it in the next 5 minutes, please. And that's already on my queue. So that's something for me to go and do and go and move about.
Because you are Dave Mulligan.
I am Dave Mulligan, today the store's operator.
Cool.
And all of the time this stuff is coming through into this these movement requests, and somewhere way down the bottom of that list. We should see that request come in. We can already see that it's been called for, requested by Dave. And if I want to put it onto my own personal list, then I can just hit the taxi button again.
Nice. Is that it?
Yeah, it's not very complicated, is it?
Oh, not really, no.
It's designed to make it simpler.
But it is complicated to do in real life, isn't it? Because we go to factories and there's various levels of organisation in the factory, isn't there? You walk into some of them and the pallets, Dave just knows where the pallets are, apparently, allegedly. Yeah, then other people have got marked out bay units and stuff like that they put things in, but might have a graph on the wall or something like that to show you what's in there, but that needs to be managed and kept up to date. And other people have got full inventory warehousing throughout their factory, but this gives an automated way of doing what they're probably doing with bits of paper, telephone calls, text messages, whatever needs to happen at that point in time.
Yeah, and it still tells the operator a fairly good amount of data. You know, it's designed to be on a smaller screen, not on a computer screen. Designed to be on a tablet, and probably in portrait mode as well on a tablet. And you can see where you need to pick it up from, where you need to take it to, and what's the item you're looking for. So both the description and the code of the item as well.
So typically they would go for X amount of pallets. I'll take that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one, because I know they're all from there, and then just go backwards and forwards doing that particular job. Or they could follow the list all the way down prescriptively as per requirements for the press, depending on the type of business they are, really.
Yeah.
If you're a large organization, you're going to be putting 8-10 reels out in one go for a job, which will keep the press quiet for a while. But with a smaller organization, you probably need to follow that list because there'll be on and off jobs, paper sizes, or whatever it is on the way through.
Yeah.
Was there any questions?
So we've got a couple of questions that come in through the chat. There's a few people asking about the terrible screen quality, which I'm afraid I can't see because it looks amazing to me. It is being
Published, yeah.
but if the screen quality is not so great, then either we will find a way to make it better, or I'll have to do it all over again, spend the whole day, pretend to be a factory, and we'll make a little recording of it. So we'll definitely have a recording out there. Second question that's come in, really interesting question. Is it usable with ATVs? So these are automated vehicles to make automated movements in the factory. It's a good question because it is one that beats me. I don't know the direct answer to it. This system is designed for operators, for people to be scanning barcodes. However, the list of requirements is all API driven. So, I mean, we'd have to probably look at the specific details about it, but I'd be fairly confident that the requests are sitting in an API call somewhere, and that probably can be transferred into another system. So we use these messages to take from PrintFlow with our internal messaging call, which is an API service.
And there's no reason that you couldn't query that from a third party, get that list, and then tell the roboty thing to move it from A to B.
And there are certainly robots who are doing, think about big web presses. There's certainly robots who are moving reels into position into web presses. And so we are delivering it to the robot effectively, and the robot takes over from there. So it could well be that this is just a prelude to the automated part that's going to do that. We have another question popped into the chat as well, which is my favorite question to get because it gets asked to me every week. When is PrintFlow 4D going to be available for PACE? Extraordinarily soon. It is due in the next release, which is due at the end of June. So it is likely that will be on an early adopter program. But you are right, in fact, if you noticed that this was PrintFlow 4D we're using at the beginning. We're using Technique here to do this. We have a few systems that do this, but this one is Technique. But PrintFlow 4D was going across all of our software. So yes, PACE is end of June.
Including Fasten, iQuote, Technique, PACE, all can use the PrintFlow scheduling board.
And Monarch.
Monarch, the one that wasn't in front of my face. Is that it?
That's it from me. There's been a good load of questions come in as well, so it's obviously interesting for people, and probably we would note it's fairly common whenever we go into a factory that whether they have got signs above every little corridor in the factory displaying exactly what the location is, or whether it's a bit of a free-for-all, everybody is trying to be a little bit more efficient here.
And we've spoken to people that use third-party systems, and it was sort of managing their stores outside of the system, whereas ideally it's all in one like this, and then it's all in the right place talking to each other, isn't it?
Yeah. So a couple more questions have popped into the chat as well for us. So one of them, how is this different from Material Director? And essentially it is very similar to Material Director. The difference is Material Director works in the Monarch suite and the taxi system works in the publication suite. But essentially they're doing the same job. And there's another question, but I'm not completely sure I fully understand it. Will it eliminate the need for standalone PrintFlow? PrintFlow 4D is a replacement for standalone PrintFlow or for PrintFlow Classic. So you wouldn't run both together. You'd be running the browser-based PrintFlow 4D version rather than the classic PrintFlow client version. But the material movement stuff, that's a separate application, depends what MIS you're using.
Yeah, because it should be mentioned that PrintFlow 4D doesn't have to work with one of our products, does it?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, so PrintFlow, these messages that's coming from PrintFlow about the times that things are needed at and the materials that are going into jobs, that could be used by a third-party system. It doesn't need to be our MIS.
So if that's all the questions, we're done. If anybody wants to know anything more, contact your local sales representative or me and David, and we'll pass the details on. No more questions from anybody?
There's one other one quickly has just popped in. Is the taxi system part of PrintFlow 4D? No, it isn't. It's part of the taxi system is part of Technique. The material director system is part of Monarch.
But they do the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, our work here is done. You can go and make all your jobs not late.
Have to do with a factory in the real world.
Always a problem.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Goodbye.